But to me, if I had to pick a team and who that favored, I'd pick the team that runs the ball, which is the Eagles. Dude, you got bad weather? Look at what the Eagles are built for. Let me show you something here. And this made me think, even this storm, and what this storm shows you, what your team is capable of doing. National Football Show, it's your boy Big Sills. How you doing? Happy hump day to you. Hope all are having a great day as we're getting closer to a pretty good football game this weekend at Lincoln Financial. Please hit the like button. We appreciate everybody that comes aboard here. Thank you so much. I thank you. Kyle, thank you. Hey, Kyle is one of my favorite people that come and watch me every single day. Me and Xander were just talking like, look at Kyle. Look at Kyle there. Sileo, right? I love those kind of folks. Thanks for coming aboard, Kyle. I appreciate it. You hate Big Sills, but here you are again for a little bit of punishment as we go around for the next 3 hours. By the way, Rob Ellis at the bottom of the hour. We will talk to our friend, first time on the National Football Show for Rob, too. I look forward to talking with him. And our boy, Philly 500, in hour number 3 at 5:30 Eastern time. I first want to start the show off by doing this, okay? All of our friends down in Florida and up the East Coast. By the way, Hurricane Ian may end up impacting this Jags and Eagle game on Sunday. As that thing rolls in over the weekend, that could impact that football game for bad weather. I don't know who that favors on either side, but it could impact that football game. There could be some torrential rain that go up the coast here, and how that impacts that Sunday game, I don't know. But again, they're going to get bad weather in Philadelphia and at the link, so that could be an issue there. But everybody, hey, man, be safe out there. It's going to go across the state. Doesn't look like it's going to go up into Tampa, and it's going to go across to Jacksonville. You should have seen me trying to scramble today to try to get some people from Jacksonville on. Everybody's running for the hills now, man, and they're trying to seek safety right now. So, again, we send our thoughts and prayers out with all the people that are down there, our good friends. We love the state of Florida. It's my second home. This is where I did a lot of success for broadcasting, and both my sports career was down in the state of Florida. So we send our love out to the state of Florida. Brandon Graham, congratulations, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Look at the Eagles starting to rack up all these weekly awards now. That's a great thing. Good for him too, right? Guy has to go through rehab, puts himself back on a field, gets himself back into the rotation. Now he's the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. That's great stuff, man. Hard work, understanding a system now. Good for him, man. That's really absolutely fabulous that he was your Defensive Player of the Week. You know, I kind of thought Devonta Smith might get the Offensive Player of the Week, NFC-wise. I thought maybe he got jobbed a little bit in that, but I think one of those awards will come his way as we go into the season here. Please hit the like button. I'm going to get to some of your thoughts here in a sec. I'm going to get to the Jaguars right out of the gate. Sills, I played your Eagles song in my work truck radio, and now I'm waiting for the tow truck. Thank you very much. I'm sure you threw up all over yourself too, right? Hurts season, T. Washington. Sure looks like it. Jesse, what up, my brother? Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Popcorn TV. Love to come back for BG, Brian says. And he should have with those 3 sacks that he got, Brandon Graham. And absolutely. I tell you what, Josh Sweat too. As great as he played in that football game on Sunday, he could have been in a conversation for Defensive Player of the Week too on the NFC side. All right. Let me get into the Jags here. When you put on the tape and you watch a Jacksonville Jaguar team coached by Doug Peterson, that's different. That's a different looking team. They're not the Jags. There's discipline. You see it in how they play, how they run to the ball, how they have a sense of urgency. That's not the Jags. They run the ball effectively. They get after the quarterback effectively. The quarterback is playing within a structured system. They're well coached. You see it. They're disciplined. Special teams is disciplined. They got playmakers on that team. And I'll tell you, a part of their football team that's starting to pick it up big time is their defense. Okay? I mean it. That kid Lloyd can play. I wanted him on the Eagles instead of Jordan Davis. I had him slated in there as the 19th pick, the linebacker from Utah. I thought he was a Micah Parsons kind of clone. And I talked to Kyle Whittingham, his head coach at Utah, said he's a fabulous player. And I'll tell you what, he's going to make NFL Rookie of the Year. He's going to make at least the all-rookie team. He could be your defensive Rookie of the Year. He's a good-looking football player. The kid Walker from Georgia. Dude, they get after folks, man. They got a bunch of hitters on that team. And when you watch the 22 film on them, dude, they're grouping. Their O-line's not bad. I'm going to say this to you. I think they're better than Minnesota. I think this will be the Eagles' biggest test. Now, again, let me back it up and go, are the Eagles better? Yeah, you're at home also. Okay? You're at home. But this team will be the best test. Trevor Lawrence is playing really good football. That kid can sling it, man. And he runs a 4.5. He looks like the talent that I thought he was going to be when he came out of Clemson. This kid's a good-looking football player. And you're seeing the good coaching, them putting pieces around him, and most importantly, having a structure around him. It's really cool when you watch the Jags, if you didn't notice the helmet, you would swear it was Pittsburgh or Green Bay or a really disciplined football team like New England. They have a lot of dynamics like that. Everything is in a structure. You see what they're doing out of that bear front, too. They're moving guys around. They're very versatile. They remind me of the old Patriot defenses early on in Belichick's run up there when they were taking guys like Bruschi and Vrabel and moving them around. That's a pretty good-looking football team. Okay? Better than Arizona, Sills? I'll have to wait and check out Arizona for next week. I don't know yet because I started watching some film on the Jags last night. So I would say this. Let me hang in there before I start saying that because I haven't watched enough film on Arizona yet. But I will say this Jags team's not the same. That's not the same football team. They got a lot of players. And what Doug has done, what I think is one of the most important things, he's put a hell of a coaching staff together. You know, they've got a lot of good coaches. I know Mike McCoy from a long time ago, and Mike McCoy is doing a great job with Trevor Lawrence. Mike's the former head coach of the Chargers. It's funny. That's where I met Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni worked in San Diego for Mike McCoy. And you know who recommended Mike McCoy to Doug Peterson? Frank Reich. Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni recommended Mike McCoy, the quarterback coach, to Doug. Doug knew him too, though, of course. But that's the connection when he was putting his coaching staff together. He asked Frank, who do you think should be my quarterback coach? And he said, Mike McCoy. And Nick seconded it. So there's a connection with the coaching staff, with the three dudes. Remember this, okay? Mike McCoy is the quarterback coach in Jacksonville. And Sirianni worked for him, Mike McCoy, and so did Frank Reich. Frank was the offensive coordinator in San Diego. That's how that dynamic works. So you always have to put the tea leaves and connect the dots when you're talking about how teams are going to approach one another and how much intel and insight do you have on what a team is trying to accomplish. You see a lot of the things that Phillip Rivers did when he was in San Diego, and you see how they want to get the ball out quick. They want to get it on rhythm. You want to be able to get a pace going. And you see that. You see him developing. Now, I didn't think he was spectacular in that Washington opener But against the Colts, I thought he got really a good view of the field. It doesn't really against the Chargers this past weekend. I thought he was great. So he's got a really good understanding of what they're trying to do with that coaching staff. I really like Trevor Lawrence. I said to you that I think he can make the Pro Bowl this year. They might win that division. They just might. I don't really think that there's a lot of really good, powerful teams in that division. Okay, I just don't. You hear anything about the Birds wanting Dee Ford? I have not heard that. Okay? That's what happens when Joey Bosa and J.C. Jackson aren't in the game. Slasher, right? But that's not the Jags' fault. You got injured guys. That's on you. Because, look, guys, just like Merrill Reese said yesterday, it's the war of attrition. That's part of it. This is part of the war of attrition. You know, it's funny. I tweeted something out this morning about Tagovailoa, and I said Tagovailoa is not the answer in Miami. He's not. It's not because he's not good enough. It's the same dynamic that's going on in San Francisco. He's not durable enough. He's just not. Jimmy G's not being replaced in San Francisco because of talent. Jimmy G's being replaced because he can't stay healthy. That's why they went out and got a quarterback. Because Garoppolo's hurt all the time. Missing games. He's missed a boatload of games in San Francisco. That's why they went out and got Trey Lance. You're not trying to replace a guy who's won 38 ball games since he's been in San Francisco because he sucks. It's not the case. They go far with Garoppolo. You know, you can't do this. Well, Jimmy G doesn't put great numbers up. Well, neither do a lot of quarterbacks, including Lamar Jackson. He doesn't put gigantic passing numbers up. He is this year. Okay? The NFC East is a stronger division than the AFC South. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. And again, I want everyone to understand, I don't hate Tua. Absolutely not. I have nothing against the kid. You hope he makes it. Some guy in Miami's trying to tell me, yeah, well, Herbert's. I go, dude, don't kid yourself. The Dolphins had to do it all over again. They would have took Justin Herbert over Tua in that draft. What are you, crazy? Use your common sense. 3 games, he's played well. Now he's dinged up, and there's still a chance he may not play on Thursday night because of the concussion protocol. NFL Players Association is even looking into it and how they put him back on the field so fast. So again, I mean, this is concussion protocol stuff. It's not even like a knee or an ankle or a shoulder. What happens when we get to the quarter pole and the halfway quarter pole of the season? Is he going to be too banged up to finish the year? Hey, that goes on. This is what you got to give Jalen a lot of love for. I'm going to get to Jalen here in a minute because there was a story on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer about Jalen Hurts today, and I want to hit on that a little bit here. Look, I think Tua's a good ball player. I really do. I think he's a good ball player. He's just not durable enough. What's up, Magic? What's up, Maniac? Appreciate you coming aboard. It's Tua's back, not his head. Oh, it's his back, Rich? He's got a burner? Okay. Appreciate it. So a good chunk of the offense, Dolphins stats came from that fourth quarter with the Ravens. I know. Would they score like 21 points in like 8 minutes or 160 seconds or some shit like that? I know, man. A lot of it. Greg says, Sills, Jaguars have some good linebackers. Boy, they do, man. That Kayvon kid can hit. Dude, man, they got some ball players. How Urban Meyer didn't do shit with that football team a year ago stuns me, which means this. He didn't want to be a head coach. This guy, when he walked in, and he walked into Shade Khan's office, the owner of the Jags, this guy used the smile to rob a bank. I mean, seriously, most people who are criminals use guns. This guy used the smile and his what little reputation he had to get that job and steal money. One of the greatest thefts of all time when it came to stealing money was what Urban Meyer did to the Jags. Remember I told you last year at the beginning of the year, Urban Meyer won't make the year. And he didn't. He didn't make the year. But that wasn't a shocker. Okay? Urban Meyer's a joke. Complete joke. Snake, thank you. Dude, one of the biggest red flags for me last year was when he didn't go back with his team. I had never seen that before. I had never heard of anything like that before. But guys, when you watch this Jags team, I'm going to tell you something here. They got some ball players. The Eagles are still better. They're better. But don't think you could just throw your helmet on the field on Sunday and you're going to have a rollover. Those guys are going to play their ass off for Doug Peterson because they know he's coming home. They know he wants a good showing. There's no question. Doug is he's going to get a great performance out of these guys. The weather's going to be a factor, I think, on Sunday as that hurricane comes up the coast. Like I said, I don't know who that favors, but to me, if I had to pick a team and who that favored, I'd pick the team that runs the ball, which is the Eagles. Dude, you got bad weather? Look at what the Eagles are built for. Let me show you something here. And this made me think, even this storm, and what this storm shows you, what your team is capable of doing. Say you got to go. Say you don't win home field advantage in the NFC at the end of the year. Say you don't. Say you're second or such like that. And it has to go through Tampa or it has to go through Green Bay. Okay? Say it has to go through Green Bay. Okay. Most likely Green Bay, I think. I think if it's going to be not Philadelphia, I think it's going to be Green Bay at the end of the day. I'm still holding it that I think it's going to be Philly. But let's play along here. Look what you're built for. Say it's like 30 below, or it's snowing like it was a year ago when San Francisco went into Green Bay. Why did San Francisco win that game last year against Green Bay? They were built for the elements. They could run the ball. They didn't have to make a shitload of throws to win. The Eagles are built the same way. You don't have to go in to a place with bad weather, and you know this. Late in the year, when you need hey, how about this? Late in the year, when you got to go into a place like New York in the Meadowlands, and that wind blowing off 16W there, and you got to go in there and play, or you got to go to Soldier Field, got the worst turf in the league, and you got to go up there and play a ball game, you're built for it. You're not one of these finesse football teams that has to rely on throwing the ball. How many times did we see Peyton Manning because he played in the Dome and he played in that field house? Every time he went to New England, he got the shit kicked out of him. Or if he went into Baltimore, he got beat because they didn't play in the elements. The Patriots practicing that stuff. Okay? Practicing in that stuff. You're built for it, though. Okay? You're built for it. Richie goes, who is Green Bay beaten? Richie, who have you beaten? Don't start doing that because you don't have that great a resume. It's not like you're what Miami's done. Look who Miami's beaten. Beating the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Bills. That's impressive. That's your first 3 ball games? That's pretty impressive, Holmes. That's getting it done. You're beating some good quarterbacks and some good coaches and some good franchises. All 3 of those teams have a shot at making the postseason. It's still a debate on whether Minnesota makes it. Detroit's not making it. Washington may get the first pick in the draft. So before you start pointing and saying, who have they beat? Who have you beat? You haven't beat anybody. Okay? Colts just beat yeah, okay. Right. All right. Yeah. And the Jags just took apart the Jags just took apart a Charger team that beat you last year in your own place. Okay? I mean, let's hang in there on who you want to match up here yet. Let's worry about the Jags here. It's going to be a good football game. This is going to be a good football game, I'm telling you. Look, again, as we get closer to the end of the week, I'll bury the lead here a little bit with you. I'll tell you why I think the Eagles end up winning it. And we'll do that as we get closer to the end of the week here. But Jacksonville's going to put points up. This could be the best team to this point that they've played. And this is going to be the best coach team that they've played to this point. They're a well-coached team. That's a good coaching staff he's put together, Doug. That's a good coaching staff. Good coaching staff. Okay. So, Xander, am I right when I say this? Jeff McClain is a writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. He has a story on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer. And he's suggesting right now that Jalen Hurts is in line for a long-term extension here at the end of the season. And you're starting to see the media starting to get behind it now. Now, as I've told you, for me, after 3 ball games, like what Merrill said, let's let this thing play out. Let's let this play out. And how about this? Let's enjoy it. You can't do anything right now during the season because of the CBA. What's the rush? What's the rush and what's the hurry? There isn't one. It's great to have watch this. Am I in line right now to where I'm getting to a point where I would say that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles should start having conversations in the offseason about a long-term deal as the future quarterback of the team? Am I saying that right now on September 28th? No. We haven't even got through the first 4 games of the season yet. We're not even at the first quarter pole of the year. They've played no one with no significance to the playoff run, except for the people like you guys say that are in front of them. And again, I'm not against if the kid ends up doing what we've asked and want and expect by the end of the year on sitting down and having a conversation. And Jeff McClain has started that conversation on the front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer. The question is going to be how much, how long? What is going to be proper and still building the football team and still putting pieces and managing a salary cap? Are you going to get a football? You know, I had a conversation yesterday and somebody asked me why Tom Brady was successful. Why do you guys, here, let's back this up. Why do you guys think Tom Brady was successful in New England for 20 plus years? Why do you guys think he was successful? Just some random thoughts on why. I had a conversation, and some people are in the line of get as much money as you possibly want and can get. Others aren't. Okay? Others aren't. Stability and a great coach. Because his will to be great. Brady reads D, and they adjust. Here, Belichick studied for him. Stability and a great coach. Those are all great, guys. That's part of the learning curve that Tom Brady went on with Belichick and that journey that they went on each and every single week as they prepared for the teams they were playing. But can I tell you why? And I have a feeling Jalen Hurts is going to take the same page out of Tom Brady's playbook. Follow along with me and tell me if you agree or disagree here, okay? I think the reason that there was 2 things the reason that Tom Brady succeeded when no one thought he was going to succeed. It's almost the same kind of story with Jalen Hurts here. And here's the story. You never thought that Tom Brady would sit there and be so willing to learn. And he was willing to learn. Jalen's willing to learn. Jalen's willing to do things that maybe sometimes aren't convenient to his statistics, like in that Detroit game. And can I tell you the biggest reason that I think Tom Brady succeeded, whereas Aaron Rodgers and some of these other guys failed? Brady knew to invest in himself. He was never the highest paid ball player in the NFL's history. Can you imagine that? The greatest player in pro football history never was the highest paid guy in the history of the club, or I should say in the history of the league. He was never. He took haircuts so that they could keep the O-line intact. He took haircuts so that they could keep Darrelle Revis. He took haircuts so that they could keep Stephon Gilmore. He took haircuts to have a balanced roster and salary cap. Remember when you went to New England for a while, what was the big conversation? Hey, if you're going to New England, you're not going there to make money. You're going there to win championships. That was all because of Brady. Now, look at what New England has to do. New England has to overpay for everyone to go there. Nobody's inspired to go and play for Mac Jones. Not that he's a bad quarterback. He's still improving himself. But when you went to New England and you saw Tom Brady taking haircuts, pay cuts, and not taking max money, you knew right then and there, hey, if I'm not going to play Tom Brady max money in New England, then get this. I'm not going to. The secret sauce in New England, and Jalen, Jeff McClain's article today in the Inquirer about long-term extension, I think you may have a guy here that may pull that page out of the Brady playbook.